Good morning. It's an honor to be in front of you here today, and we hope to in some way convey the strong passion we have for what we're about to present. My name is Aiden van Wyk.
And I'm Isobella van Merwe, and our research focuses on investigating the benefits of age-certified residential estates in terms of real-world savings.
More specifically, the electricity savings associated with EDGE certification and how these can be used or transferred into real-world savings via different investment vehicles. Let us first set the scene. Okay, this is setting the scene. Let us carry on setting the scene. This is what our world will look like if no change is had.
The world will be dark.
For our current circumstances are climate change, resource depletion, pollution, the built environment being a significant contributor to CO2 emissions in the atmosphere. The energy crisis, whereby there is increasing consumption, increasing demand, while lack of capacity in South Africa. Social inequality, a gap in existing literature of green buildings in South Africa, as well as the slow adoption of green buildings in the South African property market. But there is hope, for we, like yourselves, see the need for change, and thus aspire to be pioneers in fostering this transformation.
We aim to bridge this gap in knowledge in the South African built environment, specifically surrounding green buildings. We believe that we have the genuine opportunity to make a real difference here. We want to inspire organizations and individuals to invest in sustainable practices, thereby promoting economic, social, and environmental well-being. This all ties into our research question, and we pose the question of what is the impact of EDGE certification in terms of real, tangible world benefits. Our aim ties directly into our question, and that is to focus on the real-world benefits that can be generated here. We hypothesize that they would in fact be consumption savings, and that those could be transformed into real-world savings. Throughout the rest of our presentation, we will show you how we came to accept our hypothesis.
For general context, as we all know, the concept of green buildings is constantly evolving, with the objective being in the planning, design, and property operations, with key areas of focus in energy use, water consumption, material and resource use, as well as the overall impact of buildings on the environment.
Focusing on EDGE certification specifically, EDGE certification in South Africa was implemented as a traditionally residential sector, so that's where it was focused on. For global certification criteria, there needs to be a minimum of a 20% reduction in energy consumption, water usage, and embodied carbon. So I would like you to keep in mind that our estate that we decided to do our research on is a level 2 EDGE certified estate. This means that there actually needs to be a 40% minimum reduction in energy consumption. And therefore, as we talk you through our real world savings later in the presentation, just keep in mind that it's related to level 2. We were given over 8 million data cells provided by a prominent property company in South Africa. The data cells comprise of 30-minute interval electricity readings associated with 1, 2, and 3-bed units. In total, we analyzed 503 units. We decided to deal with a year's worth of data to account for seasonal variation and any patterns in the data. In order to establish any meaningful results, we needed to establish a baseline. And to do this, the same property company provided us with the monetary values for the consumption of a non-EDGE certified unit. So using the monthly expenditure of a non-certified unit, we multiplied it by the price of electricity in 2020, specifically in the Gauteng region. And we found that to be R1.5 at the time. So we were able to establish our baseline and continue our investigation.
As Isobella said, with a baseline in mind, we knew the electricity consumption per month for a non-EDGE unit. And we therefore did analysis on the 8 million data points provided by a prominent property company for the EDGE certified units. Thus, we could distinguish the difference between the two, i.e. the savings, consumption savings associated with EDGE certification. Thus, as you can see, for the 1-bed, it's 60 kilowatts per month, 126 for the 2-bed, and for the 3-bed, around 270 kilowatts per month.
per hour.
per hour. And we believe this in itself is a significant finding, for it does indeed prove that there are indeed electricity savings associated with EDGE certification. But as is our habit, we wanted to go a step further and convey this in terms of financial and numerical values.
So this is where we decided to look at the price of electricity in Gauteng during 2023 in the same area. So as you can see, the price has actually increased by R1. So now we are multiplying by R2.5. So we've taken our consumption savings, times that by R2.5 to get monthly and annual savings. We found that a 1-bed over the course of the year is able to save around R1,800, a 2-bed around R3,800, and a 3-bed around R8,200.
Again, we believe these are significant in their own right. But again, as we wanted to go a step further in how we could use these consumption and numerical savings in order to generate real-world wealth. And so therefore we looked at 3 different investment vehicles. The first being that of government bonds, the second being that of mortgages, and the third being a theoretical green balance fund called the EDGE Alternative Investment Fund, which we'll unpack later on down the line.
Looking at our first investment vehicle, we dealt with government bonds. Now, South African bonds are considered a risk-free investment. The whole purpose of this investment vehicle was to show value preservation over time. We found that over the course of 1 year, the average bond returns around 1% on investment. What we did is we deposited our annual savings into a 10-year government bond and found that the future value for the 1-bed would come to R2,000, the 2-bed, R4,200, and the 3-bed around R9,000. Again, I just want to highlight that this is for the investor that wants zero risk, just wants to access their money in a couple of years and know that it's safe.
And the focus on value preservation. That was the reason for this investment vehicle.
Then we wanted to, take it a step further and focus on mortgages. And we had to look at what a traditional mortgage would look like, which I'm sure everyone in this room has probably partaken in at some point in their life. What we did is we looked at prime interest rates in September 2023, and though that was 11.75%. We then found the purchase price of each different unit. We put down a 20% deposit, meaning our loan to value was 80%. Using this information, we found that over a 20-year period, the monthly original loan payments for 1, 2, and 3 beds would be in the bottom row, as you can see over there. We needed to compare our original mortgage to a green mortgage. Now, a green mortgage is associated with lower interest rates. So what we did is we were very conservative and we went prime minus 1 basis point. So we are dealing with a 10.75% interest rate here. In reality, we've been told, and through the literature that we've reviewed, sometimes it's a lot more than just a 1%. But again, we were being conservative. So we took our non-EDGE payments and we increased them by those monthly savings associated with each unit to get an increased payment. And the results were as follows. A 1-bed EDGE-certified unit was able to reduce its 20-year loan by 56 months, meaning that the loan could now be repaid in 15.5 years. A 2-bed was able to reduce their 20-year loan by 61 months, meaning total repayment in just 15 years. And the largest result was with the 3-bed, which had a 77-month reduction, meaning total repayment in just 13.5 years. So we have our term reductions, which we've established. Every month that we are no longer paying, we are saving on those interest payments, as well as your traditional just baseline payments. This means that total savings that are no longer being made with each mortgage came to 400,000 Rand for a 1-bed, 630,000 Rand for a 2-bed, and almost 900,000 Rand for a 3-bed.
And these were all at the end of the 20-year original period. Okay, so last, but certainly not least, let's imagine a world where there was a fund whereby investors could invest their monetary electricity savings in order to create wealth. Thus, the theoretical EDGE Alternative Investment Fund was innovated. This is a green balance fund that would be made only accessible to investors that invest in green, sustainable, EDGE-rated buildings, and thus allows for the opportunity for investors to take advantage of not only the electricity consumption savings, but also take advantage, or individuals to take advantage of the wealth generation possible, thus merging economic, social, and environmental sustainability, promoting activity as well as adoption of green buildings in South Africa. which excites us a lot. We looked at the top 4 performing balance funds since inception in South Africa, for we are to base our balance fund on these. And we found the average of the top performers being 10.96%. And with research, found the average benchmark of 7.71%. So we concluded a final value return for our investment fund of 9.5%. The green bond payments would therefore be invested into our EAI fund for the amount of months saved in the mortgage terms explained by Isobella earlier. And as you can see, it's forecasted on our right. The 3-bed, of course, grows to the highest amount because the green bond mortgage is greatest and for the longest amount of time. But again, what's critical for investors is not what an investment is worth years and years down the line. It's what it's worth in today's sense. And so therefore, we discounted these future values by the rate of inflation. And as you can see, the present value for a 1-bed investment is a positive 160,000 Rand, a 2-bed 250,000 Rand, and a 3-bed 370,000 Rand. But again, as I said, as is habit, Isobella and I wanted to go a step further. And we wanted to innovate a measure of profitability for investors in the EAI fund. And so thus we conjured up the real world savings loan ratio. And what this is the present value of the investment divided by the amount of debt or loan required for each investment. And the results are astonishing. For a 1-bed, the real world savings loan ratio is 29%. For a 2-bed, it's 33%. And for a 3-bed, it's 46%. And again, with all the findings in terms of present value as well as the loan ratios for the EAI fund, we believe that there is an opportunity for investors, for banks, for REITs, such as Growthpoint, to adopt this product and make a difference in the South African green property market.
In conclusion, we also feel that it's not limited to those obvious stakeholders in the built environment. We also feel that due to the costs of these units, there is definitely an ability for the lower middle income families and individuals who in the past maybe haven't had access to property to now invest in a green building and really create long-term wealth, even generational wealth, you could say. We know that by empowering tomorrow, you need to build today. Age-certified homes pave the way for future generational wealth, sustainability, and inclusive prosperity. Thank you for watching our presentation. We appreciate your time.